The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let's see what we got here. Comics. Hey Perch. Hi Perch. Hi Perch. I've been listening to you for a while. I'm sorry. You have great takes, a lot of which I agree with as a business owner, writer, and collector. Recently, you talked about how fan outrage won't change anything. Not exactly. It is a more nuanced position that I realize in YouTube nuances where, ideas go to die, but it's not that it won't change anything. It's just that it's more complicated than just outrage. I think, but anyway, we've talked about that already. It's okay. Back to the mail. I agree with you. It took time to get to this realization. We as fans and readers do not own the property, and the companies do not owe us anything. It is their right to build up or destroy a franchise. A very hard truth to accept. It is a hard truth to accept. All this is true. It is a hard truth to accept. Doesn't mean you should be happy about it. Your emotions are your own. But it is somebody's right to destroy something. I've had conversations with people where they say, but isn't this crazy? Like, I can't believe somebody would be this dumb. It's like, I can't. I can't believe a lot of people are this dumb. Look, what's funny is there was back in the 90s, there's a website that really pushed the Darwin Awards. And there were books where they talk about, people who just did dumb things. Somebody who's like, I'm going to jump in this shark tank and see what happens. Well, I got attacked and eaten. Huh. And it's like, you generally were considered like, look at these idiots. It was like a cautionary tale for life. Well, next time you think like, how can a company destroy their own franchise? That'd be stupid. Just remember people have been doing stupid things for a long time. There is stupid out there. Anyway, back to the mail. I realized this after the Last Jedi fiasco. Disneyverse Star Wars is horrible and won't get better. That doesn't change my experiences or love for what came before, and no one can take that away. The Lucasverse is superior, even considering the prequels. This got me questioning why. And the only reason I could come to is that old experiences can't be relived with the same franchise years later. This is a very smart point you're making right here. This is why reboots normally fail. This is the same for comic books, 80 years of Batman, and there really isn't anything else. New volumes are equivalent to a soft reboot. Honestly, I think all the major characters should have a year-long break. That is what they're kind of going with Future State. But anyway, to have that exciting moment, you need to find a new series that will give you that excitement again. All this to say is why I decided to turn my series into a graphic novel. When the excitement for one franchise dies, a new franchise can take its place. Anyway, curious what you think on why reboots fail. Why do we compare old to new? It's easy. By the way, a person concludes by saying, feel free to check out my series and mention it, Chronicles of War. And I don't know how you got this domain, but good for you. It's www.chroniclesofwar.com. The ash can on my site is free. And the graphic novel should be ready in October for crowdfunding. Would love to do an interview. If you want, absolutely, I'd be happy to, Scott. And Chronicles of War, go check out the site. And happy to talk to you. I'm getting back into the thread of things of getting a lot of smaller indie creators on of all types to, talk about the series. But anyway, go check out that site. Sounds like there's a free ash can there and some other stuff to go check out. So that's fun. But to your question, why do you think reboots fail? Why do we compare old to new? Well, first off, I think it's human nature to compare old to new. And you kind of mentioned it earlier in your video. We all have life experiences. We have things that we do. And those life experiences, the really great ones, are often done by chance. That's why if you ever gone on vacation with your parents or with a husband, wife, whatever it happens to be, have you ever had somebody in your family, or maybe it's you, who really, really plans everything to the nth level of detail? You've got a complete agenda and you're just working every 15 minutes, you know where you are and you're going somewhere and everything else. And those vacations are stressful and they usually don't create these magical moments. And the things that hit us in our life when we're on vacation is, we're somewhere and just this amazing thing takes place. I remember I was in Rome, Italy with my wife, and we were kind of going down the streets and we were aimless. We were just walking and kind of enjoying the night and everything else. And we stumbled across this tiny little fountain that was tucked away. It wasn't, the Trevi Fountain or any one of the bigger locations. And so we just sat on there, made out for a little bit, which is nice. But it was just a wonderful moment. And then, this, we grabbed, there's kind of right out there's a little wine, and you could take a bottle and actually sit on the fountain and, look out at the stars. And it was a very romantic, very nice evening. And it was a memory. We also saw like the Sistine Chapel and the Colosseum and all the touristy stuff. And that was really cool too. But that fountain stuck in our minds. And so, years later, when we went back to Rome, we went searching for that fountain. It took a little bit of a while to get it. And when we finally got there, it just wasn't the same. We ordered a bottle of wine. Bottle of wine wasn't that good. We sat there. It was okay. The romance is dead in the Perch relay. No, not that. I'm lucky enough. My wife and I have a wonderful romantic relationship. It's great that it's held up. It's all you could wish for in a family, honestly. I wish for all of you to be able to have that. It's wonderful when you have those moments. But the thing that we realized was in that moment, it was being kind of lost and the journey and stumbling across this thing and having this unique moment that we didn't expect. And all of those steps led up to this really great thing. Now, our drive was, we went back to Rome. I remember when we went back, they were like, we got to get back to that fountain. That was such a wonderful night. We definitely, that's on our list. Definitely, we're going to go do that. So we were trying to kind of reboot or reclaim that memory, but the memory was unique. And if you take that now to comics or movies or things, it's the same. For a lot of us, if you watch Star Wars when you were a kid, if you're over the age of 30, Star Wars was a big deal. Movies were more unique and more rare, and they weren't just vomiting out on Disney Plus every week. And there was a bigger event kind of that happened with these movies. It was a big deal. And so, you have part of why you may have liked those original kind of Lucas movies and why you liked them is because, it was maybe your first movie, or it was your first movie at kind of a big budget sci-fi scale, or maybe it's just the excitement of all this stuff, or the fact that it was a more rare property and it felt like it was a more unique thing. And so if you try and then reclaim it, if you try and then, remake it like Abrams did with The Force Awakens, or, you go and you're like, I really love Star Wars, and then I'm going to go to Disney and just have a shotgun blast in the face of merchandise and other things, it's not going to be the same. The uniqueness of who you were in this moment, watching this movie, seeing this property, whatever it happened to be, you were a different person, and you as a person evolved and changed and adapted. And that's a lot of what makes our memories and things unique. Same thing with comics. There's a lot there. So I think that I think that reboots are kind of set up for failure. In most cases, reboots are poor unless they're able to ignite that spirit of imagination, and otherwise, it's a Xerox copy of something original. And the copy is a little bit faded. And by the way, there's a desire to tinker with things. Part of what makes Star Wars magical a little bit is that there were stuff that was kind of cheesy and corny. And so, when you reboot it, you're like, we'll have better sci-fi, we'll have better CGI, we'll have better effects, we'll have better this and better that. And the space duels will look better and cooler, and it won't. But it's almost like you're overworking it. You take away some of the flaws. Some of the flaws actually represent some of the magic. It's no different than you go to Disney World and you go to the little, miniature Eiffel Tower that they have, or the, it's just, if you go to Japan in Disney World, it's not like being in Japan in Japan. The Disney World Japan is, cleaner in some cases. You got the little temple that's perfectly manicured and everything else, but it's not like being on the streets of Japan and smelling a little bit of the train smell and just kind of the sweat and everything else. It hits you differently. So reboots and things like that, they're not going to be the same because you're different. And the people doing the reboot do not have necessarily an original idea. They're trying to do a copy. They're trying to do a clone of that idea. And they're trying in some cases to make it better, whether it's through better effects, better, technology, better graphics, better acting, better social messaging, for sure. I mean, it's some of those things like, some of that stuff didn't age well. So when we do this remake, we'll make sure and we counterbalance somehow. Well, if a line didn't age well, like, there's been some Bond movies, or like, well, in some of those Bond movies, he talks about like putting woman's job is just to stay in bed and that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that in the new Bond movies, you need to get in there and go, well, we have to countermeasure. We have to make sure we tell people, like, women are also competent and can shoot guns and kill people. Like, you don't need to do that. You just tell your story. The story will take care of it. You don't need to try and make up for sins of a film that's 40 years old. It is a different time with different people and different things. You don't need to address it. You can just move on. But that's why a lot of reboots fails. They get in their heads too much. And as terms of why we as human beings compare old to new, it's how we're wired. You know, like me trying to go back and recreate this moment in this vacation. It's who we are, and that's normal. It also means we as human beings set ourselves up for disappointment a lot, because that's also how it hits sometimes. But anyway, thank you very much for the question. Great stuff. Appreciate it. I'll reach out to you, chroniclesofwar.com. Go check it out, and wish you luck with your campaign. Thanks for listening.